I'm Alexander Payne. You have asked me to do a quick introduction for The Last Detail, one of my absolute favorite films. So I printed out some program notes that I wrote years ago and adapted them for this purpose. So forgive me if I read it. Hal Ashby forms part of a short but illustrious group of directors who began as editors. Others include David Lean, Robert Wise, Don Siegel, and Carol Rise. Ashby's main apprenticeship was with Robert Swink, and together they worked on a number of films by William Wyler in the late 50s and early 60s. Soon enough, Ashby was editing for Norman Jewison and won an Oscar for 1967's In the Heat of the Night. It was Jewison who got Ashby started in directing when he decided to make Fiddler on the Roof instead of The Landlord, and he let Ashby take over The Landlord, a wonderful and underseen film that was also one of legendary cinematographer Gordon Willis's earliest films, earliest features. Hal Ashby went on to direct an astonishing series of 7 films between 1970 and 1979. The Landlord, Harold and Maude, The Last Detail, Shampoo, Bound for Glory, Coming Home, and Being There. In my view, Ashby captured the spirit of the decade as well as any other director, at least the spirit that I remember. His films are characterized by their humanism, eccentric rhythms, and oddball humor. They are sweet, observant, and tough. One of the most unique and, I think, miraculous qualities of his movies is that while watching them, you almost feel as though you're time traveling. The Landlord feels very sweetly like 1970, and Harold and Maude feels very much like 1971, and Being There feels like 1979. And his films tell their individual stories, but at the same time, they chronicle a decade, and a very special decade for film. The Last Detail contains a breakthrough performance for another artist who, like Ashby, produced a body of work that defined the 1970s, Jack Nicholson. Although already known, of course, for Easy Rider, 5 Easy Pieces, and Carnal Knowledge, Nicholson says his role as Navy lifer Badass Badusky was for him a pivotal film, one that gave him a chance to cut loose and find new facets of his acting that he expanded upon soon thereafter in Chinatown and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. His Badusky is my personal favorite of all of his performances, and I'm told that he thinks it's his best performance. Anyway, the film is notable as well for Robert Towne's magnificent screenplay. Towne was another talent who left a huge mark on the cinema of the era. Chinatown and Shampoo are among his credited works, but he's also known for his uncredited doctoring of Bonnie and Clyde, The Godfather, The Parallax View, Missouri Breaks, and Heaven Can Wait. The Last Detail is a film I watch about once a year. It's one of those rare, seemingly simple films at once about one thing and about everything. Mostly for me about the ways that human beings find to love one another despite the roles in which they are imprisoned by society, roles designed to keep them apart. For me, The Last Detail is a sublime story of impossible love among the 3 sailors. Badusky and Mulhall come to love Meadows and he them before they have to beat the shit out of him and deliver him to a prison for a petty crime. Also remember that in 1973, the country was at war, and Vietnam is never mentioned in the film. Instead, the movie shows the sailors simply acting like recognizable human beings, laughing, crying, whoring, stealing, getting drunk, getting in fights, happy to blow their per diem, resigned to a life in the military in the absence of other options. Such a film might be accused of subversiveness, but it's subversiveness of the gentlest kind. What The Last Detail criticizes, but is elegant enough not to name, is the true subversion.